I use only my breath and thinned oil paint to compose my work. With each mark on the canvas, I use air from my lungs to create a moment in existence. My breath is part of the process in an effort to return to the human element in art and to focus on the fact that all humanity has to do is breathe, nothing more and nothing less. Existence is now, not the recent past or near future. Sometimes I use a stream of consciousness composition and color palette where I pick the colors I'm naturally attracted to. Other times I do a somatic experience exercise where you describe feelings such as anxiety, fear, and anger, and think about what color the feeling is inside your body. I use those colors and breathe that feeling onto my work. The viscosity of the thin oil paint helps trap the ripples of the breath to create a literal representation of my breath. I title my work the day, hour, and minute that I put my last breath on it. That is the time that the control of the piece is stopped and is now for the viewer.
So these are some of my breath paintings that I was first doing when I came to SCAD. So they're fairly loose. I would just choose a stream of consciousness color palette, not worry about the composition too much, let it reveal itself as I get in kind of a meditative state and breathe around the canvas here. See some of the details. These three here are 16 by 20. You're gonna title them the hour or the day, hour and minute. I put my last breath on them. So just kind of choose that stream of consciousness color palette and kind of let the colors just do what they want on the canvas to mix and match with my breath. And then these three here are some of my looser breath pieces as well. Kind of instead of doing just a few hard breaths like I did on the previous 16 by 20s, these I'd kind of have an elongated breath and kind of let it flow with the paint. And all these three here are 40 inches by 24 inches. And again, title them the day, hour, and minute. I put my last breath on them. So again, taking some more kind of elongated breaths and kind of letting the breath travel and flow with the color throughout the piece. Then I started to get a little tighter with the breath. You can see I kind of went from the loose style here to these tighter, more layered breaths. This one here is 30 inches by 24 inches. And they take a little bit longer to do as I would stack the breaths on top of each other. So I get a few patterns for the composition. So I have a little more say over the movement of the piece. And again, same kind of color palette, that stream of consciousness. Choice of colors. Go with colors that just appeal to me. These three here are 16 inches by 20 inches. So you see some of the layered breaths, a little more movement or a little more central composition on some of these. So again, just some of the tighter breath pieces that evolved from the looser breath pieces here. So since the breath is a multifaceted thing, I like to express it in a few different ways, a few different styles. These are some of my black spin paintings. What I do is I put color around the middle area here. And then I put alizarin crimson, French ultramarine, and viridian hue around the outside to get that dark color, and then I spin the painting. So I do like a completed breath painting like earlier, and then I spin it to get this kind of effect. I think this kind of encapsulates what it's like to use your breath sometimes. I like to think of them as kind of like everyone's first breath or everyone's last breath, that last grasp of air, that first grasp of air. So these three here are 16 by 20. And again, I title them the day, hour, and minute that I spin it. And this one here is 24 inches by 48 inches. Then I have these single breath pieces here. So each one of these is just one breath. I put the colors together and then I just blow on top of it. You can see some of the ripples of the breath. So for these, some of them I do choose a stream of consciousness color palette as well. For some of them in therapy, there's a somatic experience exercise of trying to describe what color the feelings inside your body feel like anxiety, shame, or guilt. You kind of think about blowing or breathing that color out of you. So for some of them, that's kind of the exercise I practice on these single breath ones. So it's kind of a mix of that random color choices that I'm just naturally drawn to. Then other times that somatic experience exercise of trying to paint what the feeling inside the body feels like. I feel they work as individual pieces as well. So these are just a few I've framed as a series. I think it just kind of gives them a little more weight, a little more intimacy to my work. These are kind of the newest things I've been working on. So my hope would be to fill a wall with them like the previous video, but I think they work individually as well.